News Radio 600 Kogo. Welcome to your weekend. It's San Diego Business Weekend. I'm Sully. Great to have you along today. And a giant show. Jerry Sanders, CEO, former mayor, former police chief, CEO of the San Diego Chamber of Commerce, going to join us to talk about how great business is doing in San Diego. Also, we've got my good friends from the San Diego Music Awards. And looking forward to seeing what's going on in the music side of things here in San Diego. And then, by the way, Barry Coffing is going to join us with San Diego Music Foundation. And I got Chase Fisher, who's the founder of Blenders Eyeware, who is doing $1 gazillion in business for him right here in San Diego. And I'm going to have Russ T Nailz joining me in just a little bit because San Diego Business Weekend is on the air. All right, so listen, a couple of things happening. I want to get to Jerry as fast as I can here, but I just want to make a comment with respect to overall markets. S&P 500, Dow Jones we're within striking distance all week of all-time highs. And they were tested because 120 of the S&P 500 companies, or around 24% of the companies, released their quarterly results this week. And we had a potential for a combination of things that drive us to new highs. And with respect to that, if you add that, which is fundamentally good because we're not paying attention to Washington, we're not paying attention to what's going on globally, it's just about earnings. We had a really great week this week, and I will tell you, that's the type of week that we want to see, and the volatility remained relatively low. And I will tell you, for the most part, the market ignored the earnings sort of cycle, including Tesla's out of the park hit, as well as Chipotle, and so on and so forth. So we'll talk a little more later in the program, and I want to talk about some stocks that have the highest dividend yields in a red-hot real estate sector. I also want to talk about the CBD sector because UCSD right here in San Diego is pushing back on what's going on with respect to CBD. But in the meantime, my good friend Jerry Sanders, who is the CEO of the San Diego Chamber of Commerce, former mayor, former chief of police, and of course, he's been in this studio here on News Radio 600 Kogo a number of times, doing a fantastic job beating the drum for San Diego business. Jerry, thank you so much for swinging by. Thanks so much for being generous with your time.
Well, thank you, Sully. I appreciate it.
Great to talk to you. So how are we doing? I love it when we used to get together on a monthly basis when I was doing afternoons here on News Radio 600 Kogo. But you're still beating the drum out there for business. I know Mayor Faulkner headed out on a number of trips with you this year. But how are we doing locally here?
You know, we're still doing pretty well. The Business Outlook Index is down from last year at this time, but I don't think that's unusual based on everything that's going on around the country and the fact that sometimes we do see ups and downs, pretty big swings. So we're at about 13.1, which is down a little bit from last month. And we're seeing people, they start getting worried when they see volatility, but they're still pretty bullish on the outlook in San Diego.
Jerry, but that's still an optimistic number, if I remember correctly. I would call that moderately optimistic if you look in years past. Obviously, it's not a boom number, but it's not a horrible number either.
No, it's still in solid positive territory, and we've seen some sectors that are really bullish. We see the cybersecurity sector. They're off the charts bullish. They're up to 36.
Yeah,
and that's because everybody has to have a cyber crimes unit now or a cybersecurity expert because of all the ins and outs of what's going on with that. So, that's really high. We're also seeing manufacturing is very bullish, and they're up to about 29. And they're seeing good things going on right now in manufacturing in the San Diego area.
Well, you got to love that because that creates jobs, that creates economic impact, and that's something that we didn't see for a long time in the last 8 years. So I'm happy to see that number. And, of course, to your point on cybersecurity, yeah, we're in a new world now, and that's an entire sector that we as a region are taking advantage of. A lot of reports that real estate is taming. How are you guys looking on the business forecast for this last quarter here? How's real estate doing?
Well, the real estate sector is really at -8, which is pretty low. But, that's pretty seasonal also.
Sure.
In that a lot of people want to sell their homes before the fall. so they can get their kids into schools and they can start making plans and all of that. And we see that bouncing around. It just depends on interest rates. It depends on a lot of things that people really take into account when they're trying to get new mortgages and buy new homes. So we're not overly alarmed at that at all.
So here's my question. I did a story last week on News Radio 600 Kogo in the morning with Ted and LaDonna about the fact that there are more and more older workers in the workplace. Workers are loving that because they're more reliable, but also it's taking, people aren't retiring for a number of reasons. A lot of people need the money. You guys asked on this month's business forecast how important it is for businesses to consider the priorities and desires of workers older than 65 in terms of employee attraction, retention, and productivity. What did you find out about that?
Well, we found about a third said it wasn't very important. About 40% say not that important. And about 30% said it's very important. So, you know what we kind of measured it to was we did the same thing for millennials a couple of reports ago.
Sure.
And found almost exactly the same numbers. And what that tells me is employers want workers who are going to do a good job, who are loyal to them, who will work hard, and they don't really care if they're millennials, if they're seniors or anything else. They just want good workers. And so the numbers really mirror and reflect that, and I think that's probably pretty true. When you're looking for employees, you're not really looking at the age, you're looking at their expertise and how hard they're going to work for you, and that's what we're seeing in the report.
Jerry Sanders, CEO of the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce, on the phone with us here on San Diego Business Weekend. And I will tell you, I really enjoy your business forecast that comes out monthly, that's sponsored by Cal Private Bank. And I will tell you, everything looks even to me for the last, since January. If you look at all of your metrics, and you've got 4 components of that metrics, that you look at all the time. Everything's held steady since July, and nothing looks weak. We're just not on a tear anymore, and I think that's probably causing some people to maybe react to as if it's volatility. But in reality, things are pretty steady going into the fourth quarter. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah. And actually, you really nailed it in that, it's not going as fast as it was for quite some time. But we can't expect that it's going to continue to do that. Sure. And we're just evening out right now, and people are still confident. They're still hiring. They're still got a lot of hours for their employees. So we're seeing that confidence in business, and we're just not seeing the weakness that, some people predict. And, you get a group of people out there in order to get on TV or radio who are going to predict there's going to be a recession real quick. And we're not seeing that. Yeah, and we're not seeing that the businesses feel that way either. Yeah,
and I have to agree with you. As I had the opportunity to speak to the Los Angeles Regional Chamber of Commerce as well as the Phoenix Regional Chamber of Commerce, and I can tell you in comparison, and both fine organizations, but I can tell you the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce is really collaborative with respect to your business community. Talk about a couple of things you guys have coming up, because I want to give you a chance to maybe promote some of that stuff, and of course, give you an invitation to join us here anytime you want. And of course, you have me as a non-paid speaker anytime you need me there. But I can tell you, you guys are collaborative in comparison to some other Chamber of Commerces around the country from some big cities.
What's interesting about San Diego is when we talk to people from out of the region, and I talked to a few this morning that we were talking with, and they are always amazed at the collaborative spirit in San Diego. And I think that's been engendered over a period of years because we're kind of at the far end of everything, and people have to work together. And then once they start doing it, they really enjoy working together. And I think that's really been a strength of San Diego and a strength of our economy. And, it goes out to law enforcement, or all of our law enforcement really collaborates with each other, which you don't find in other cities. So we're kind of a great example of how you can work together and really achieve the things we need for our communities.
Well, I'll say, if you want more information, go to sdchamber.org. sdchamber.org is a website. And 2,500 businesses, 300,000 jobs. San Diego Regional Chamber is fighting to make San Diego the most business-friendly region in California. And, Jerry, you're doing a great job. As usual, pleasure to talk to you, brother, and I'll talk to you very soon.
All righty.
Jerry Sanders, CEO of San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce. Well, I'll tell you, that guy is a driving force here in San Diego and always will be there. So, listen, when you think about what's going on with the market this week, I started off on Monday on San Diego Morning News by saying that we are in striking distance of all-time highs, and we had the potential for a lot of things to drive us to new highs, and I'll be darned if we didn't get there. during the week. And boy, we had some intraday really interesting things happening throughout the week here. And I can tell you, it was a surprise to me that we didn't hit it faster, but at the same time, unsurprising that we went sideways to up. And I think that shows that we have more stability, less volatility going into the market. And I will tell you, one of the stories that we hit on this week was even as the U.S. economy is chugging along in its 11th year of expansion, steadily adding millions of jobs, boosting paychecks. And what I mean by 11th years of expansion, I'm including the stock market in that. I'm not talking about the GDP, but I'm talking about the stock market. According to a new poll released by Gallup this week, 40% of you say that you're in good jobs, which means that 60% of you don't like your jobs. So, unsurprisingly, many folks are still, even in this economy, looking for jobs. And one of the reasons is, and I was talking to Ted Garcia about this in the morning show, one of the reasons is because we have wage stagnation. Much of the middle class is not participating because small business is the first person to suffer when an economic slowdown happens, and that's when people lose their jobs. But when the economy comes back and small businesses start making money again, they slowly start hiring people again. But at the same time, the wages come second. So that's why you're seeing that. And I'll continue to explain a little bit more. Coming up, Barry Coffing is with San Diego Music Foundation. They got a very special event coming up. I want to talk to you about that. Also, Russ T Nailz from San Diego radio fame and my partner on television is going to join us in studio right here on San Diego Business Weekend. It's News Radio 600 Kogo. News Radio 600 Kogo, San Diego Business Weekend. Welcome to your weekend. Sully here. Catch me every morning on the San Diego Morning News, as well as over on KUSI on Good Morning San Diego. And then, of course, weekdays with Russ T Nailz on the Big Biz Show, Nationwide Coast to Coast. And look who's in studio today. Russ T Nailz joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate it, everybody. Thanks for coming to the televised radio
Russ T
show.
Nailz, an icon. Didn't you used to be Russ T Nailz, is what I hear people say all the time?
Yes, I still am. In some
Somebody walked up to me today and said to me, "Hey, I saw your on-air partner in a Medi shop." And I said, "Imagine that." But apparently you were on TV at a Medi shop. So catch us up.
I'm kind of a big deal.
I'm all completely caught up because I'm in a studio with you every day. But for the rest of the people that know you as a has-been,
I am still.
What do you?
I'm still here. No, I'm deeply involved in the cannabis industry and have been since I was 12. But now that it's all legalized and stuff, I'm producing news segments. Cannabis News with Ron Burgundy. Looks a lot like Ron Burgundy, but it's spelled with a K, so it's technically KRonBurgundy.com.
And let's not forget that you host Live High Live.
Live High Live, the website, that's the network, WLHL News. You'll hear the voice of Shotgun Tom Kelly introducing the news segments. And these segments are put in these those little kiosks when you're sitting at a gas station pumping away, and there's, hey, today in Hollywood. So these TV programs or elements are right there in the Medi shop while you're waiting for your order.
And then of course your comedy shows. You're still doing comedy shows that have to do with this CBD industry,
right? A lot of news about CBD and the fake stuff. Is it good for you? Is it too much? It's everywhere. It's like the number one Googleable
it is.
word or
I reported that this week is the number one search.
Thank God.
Right now is CBD. It's above acupuncture. It's above meditation. It's above everything.
Yeah.
CBD is searched for. And I was telling Ted and LaDonna this week that I thought it was going to be probably the new aspirin. Now, remember, the CBD is not THC, which is the thing that gets you high. CBD is the medicinal portion.
Right.
And UCSD came out pushing back saying we need more research because we're going out this thing We know there's something here, but we need to know everything about it.
Yeah,
so,
like everything.
But I think it's like going to be like aspirin, the wonder drug. Remember that? That's how it came out. At first.
Yeah, well, you can put the stuff in your water, in your food, in your lotions, and all that stuff. And for some people, it really does take away that, it's a Bengay type of a thing. Athletes that I've interviewed are trying to get it into Major League Baseball to allow them to, put it on their sore so they can get back out on the diamond and make their big E.
Well, I know you're a music fan. I know that, and I don't know why you're doing this, but you have a guitar every time you're on stage now versus doing stand-up.
I'm a rock star.
There's coming up next weekend. I think is November 2nd a Saturday? I believe
it is.
Yeah, November 2nd on Saturday. There's a great organization in town, and they put on the San Diego Music Awards. It's called the San Diego Music Foundation, enriching San Diego's diverse creative music community.
Is Hellman in the group?
Kevin Hellman.
Oh, my God.
Of course, from City Beat magazine, great guy.
Yeah.
Is putting this on. San Diego Music Thing is what it's called. It's presented by the San Diego Music Foundation in partnership with an organization called Springboard West.
I want to play.
Well, it's a 90-minute conference, and Barry Coffing is doing a talk on getting your songs in film and TV. Oh. And guess who I have right now? I've got Barry Coffing. Is Barry via phone, Chris? Yeah. Barry, welcome to the program. How are you, sir? Nice to have you on.
Good. Thanks for having me.
Rusty, my own band was nominated as Live Performer of the Year. And I didn't even know.
Right.
But it's a fantastic organization because I got so many people that contacted me through this. Talk about San Diego Music Foundation. Talk about the San Diego Music thing, Barry.
So the San Diego Music thing, it's going to be just kind of a quick 1 hour and a half kind of teaser for what we're going to do in January. January, we're going to do kind of a full one-day thing in partnership with Springboard West, which is January 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Now,
so
wait a minute.
10th, we're going to do a longer version. But we're run under a nonprofit called Sustainable Artists, and so we bring in, music industry experts from all the different facets. And then we had 2,300 bands sign up, and we selected 40 that we're going to showcase on all over Ocean Beach in 4 different venues.
Now, I never know. No, I never know about this stuff. I never know about how to sign up for that. I gotta get plugged in with you guys.
And
That's good stuff.
This 1 hour thing, is this going to be rocking or talking? Are these going talking about it?
It's all talking. Yeah,
it's all talking.
So we've got myself and Michael Messina, and basically it's just kind of giving the local community kind of a teaser for what we're going to be bringing in the bigger full force thing that's going to happen in January.
Very good. And talk about the San Diego Music Foundation, but you guys enrich San Diego in a lot of different ways, and I've been a supporter for some time. But talk about what you guys do at the Music Foundation, because you guys started in 1991, if I'm not mistaken, and you brought music to children. I think that was the idea, right?
Yeah, they're doing that, and also I'm not actually a part of that, but we're kind of partnering with them.
Yeah.
I'm on the Springboard West side, but they this year part of our ticket sales are going to go to the San Diego Music Foundation, putting guitars in schools.
Gotta love that. Talk about
everybody who comes down to do that. They're going to be a portion of every ticket sale is going to go to support the good work that the San Diego Music Foundation
does. That's such a springboard to every subject. It's math. It's history.
Yes,
it's art.
That's it. That's right.
It's
you're talking music, right?
Music, playing the guitar,
right.
Piano when you're little, because it's
mathematics.
It is.
Yes, you have to know how to count. Hey, I got to ask you. Talk about, if you would, Springboard West, because I don't think I've heard of the organization, and of course Barry Coffing, who's representing Springboard West as well as San Diego Music Foundation here on the air today with us. Talk about Springboard West. What is that organization about?
So this will be our 11th event. It's sort of our version of what South by Southwest could have been. All the speakers come for free. We basically do a 2-day boot camp, but we try to identify artists that are halfway across the stream. They've pretty much done everything they can do, but at a certain point, art becomes a team sport. You've got to have a manager. You've got to have an agent. You've got to have a producer. You've got to have great songs, and a lot of them will have, everything but a real hole in one part of what they're doing. So the idea of Springboard is to give them information about what they could be missing, and also to introduce them into the people that can plug that hole.
Have I got a student for you?
Like on the film and TV stuff, I'll be giving a talk about how to write songs that have a better chance of getting in film and TV. My background is I used to do writing for dollars, so I have 200 songs in film and TV.
Wow.
I've been nominated for an Emmy. I've written a #1 hit pop song. And so I'm going to tell them, hey, here's the trick that if you do X, Y, and Z, you got a better chance of getting in the movie.
And you also, and Barry, you also were signed to Warner Brothers for a while, and you also, and you have,
it was incredible.
You represent like 10,000, 15,000 record labels and publishers for film and TV licensing,
we're
right?
up to 16,000 labels from 78 countries around the world, and I have a company that does licensing for film and TV. So we're pitching anywhere from 1 to 200 projects a month. And we put a song in a movie or a TV show every 72 hours.
Barry, you know it's something called taxi.com?
Yep.
Is it
are you asking for personal
for my son? Young musician, great music up in Portland, and they are at that point. They're looking for a van and trying to segue out of their legitimate jobs to go on the road.
What is Taxi, Barry?
Yeah.
Well, Taxi, if you're just starting out and you're in the middle of nowhere, and Taxi does a really good job of giving critiques for songs.
Oh, good.
In fact, I've got friends and stuff that'll go and write critiques and stuff like that. I'm sort of that step afterwards. Like, we're not there. The songs have to be ready to go.
Higher on the food chain. Is Barry.
So we're taking the guys that are good to go.
Yeah.
Like, we had a song in Green Book that won the Oscar for Best Picture. We put 2 in Blindside with Sandra Bullock.
Oh,
we just had 2 songs last night on TV. One was Rivendell, which is kind of the Archie's remake. We put like 6 or 7 things in that. We put 27 things in Shameless for with William H. Macy.
And you're going to talk about during this event. You're going to talk about specifically at the Standing of Music thing on November 2nd. You're going to tell people sort of the secret sauce and how to do that at this 90-minute conference. Okay,
and we're going to have. I have an agent too that's going to give them the secret sauce of it's one of your local people, Michael Messina, who comes from the label and agent background, and he's going to do a kind of a similar thing, saying, before we sign somebody, here's what we're looking for.
Right.
Wow, interesting stuff. Barry,
we're
thanks.
going to give him a teaser on that. When we do Springboard in San Diego, when we come down there, we're going to bring the head of music from Lionsgate, somebody from Disney, somebody from Fox, and we do what we call Moment of Truth panels.
Wow.
So rather than talk about it, we go, hey, you think your songs belong in the movies? Moment of Truth. 1 minute of one song. What do you want to play for?
The room empties.
That's hey, Barry, listen, first of all, and I will tell you, thanks for joining us on San Diego Business Weekend for News Radio 600 Kogo. But Russ and I also host a national television show in 110 million TV homes every single night across the country. We'd love to have you come on and be a music expert for us.
Subject.
Have you get you in studio. So we'll grab you on that. All right, Barry, thank you so much for that. Barry Coffing. With Springboard West, and of course, presented by the San Diego Music Foundation, is the San Diego Music Thing, November 2nd, 1 p.m. For more information, you can go to sandiegomusicfoundation.org, and you can find out how to get in. It's absolutely free, 90-minute conference. I want to go. I think you got to go.
Yeah, I'm taking
I want to see you
notes.
do your Moment of Truth with one of your songs there, Nailz.
Damn right. I got a new one called Don't Be a Dumbass.
Nice.
Huh?
Yeah.
It's okay. Good. It's okay. I wrote it for a good friend of ours.
All right. Okay. Well, good. So I want to see you. I want to see you go down there, and then we can see where the rubber meets the road, as he absolutely said.
Doing 50 in the fast lane when I'm trying to pass.
Everybody, don't. All right. News Radio 600 Kogo. San Diego Business Weekend. A young entrepreneur going to be joining us here in just a second. Right here from San Diego. I brought Russ in because he'll probably get some free sunglasses out of it. I'm Sully. Russ T Nailz in studio with me. San Diego Business Weekend. News Radio 600 Kogo. News Radio 600 Kogo. Sully here. Welcome to your weekend. San Diego Business Weekend. Thanks again to Jerry Sanders, former chief of police, former mayor, and CEO of the San Diego Greater Chamber of Commerce, for joining us talking about our business index report for the quarter. And then, of course, Barry Coffing from the music business, talking about a music thing coming up on November 2nd. What's up?
I'm going.
Russ T Nailz, by the way, joining me in the studio this week, which is fantastic. Russ used to be a very popular radio personality.
Now I live under a bridge in Mission Valley.
No, Russ, so here's the deal.
I'm a drummer.
Russ and I have a national TV program.
No, a drum
as
stand.
you well know.
All right.
Do you know what they call a room full of drummers?
What?
Prison.
Okay.
Thank you.
Drum. Doesn't really understand music. Anyway, here we are.
Listen, so there was an article in the UT, and I'm not sure if Phil Molnar wrote it, who's a frequent guest of the program. I don't know exactly who it was, but it was a fantastic article about a young guy who had who'd grown sick and tired of expensive eyewear, sunglasses specifically. And he was heading to a party, as the story goes.
And he sat on his expensive ones. No.
Stopped by a place, got some cheap shades, and got a ton of attention because of it.
Really?
And thought, hey, there's something here.
Because they were funky or something? Or
I don't know. We're going to find
cheap
out.
Shades,
They were cheap sunglasses. As
ZZ
the eldest,
Top's classic.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So Chase Fisher is his name, and he formed a company called Blenders Eyeware. BlendersEyeware.com.
Oh, that sounds
and
like a safety thing for making margaritas.
Well, that's true. So if you go to BlendersEyeware.com, you can see their website. And of course, as you're listening to this program, as you're driving around San Diego or LA or up to the signal goes to Santa Barbara, we also do a TV version of this show, which me and producer Lady Mary will put up after the show today, up on the website kogo.com, keyword Sully. But Chase joins us in studio. Hey, Chase, thanks for swinging by, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Am I have that right? You didn't have sunglasses to a party or something, and you stopped at a 7-Eleven?
I didn't want you to stop. Just keep on going.
Well, tell us the real story.
Yeah. So I was going to see my favorite DJ at Flex nightclub downtown.
Okay.
It was about a year after I graduated, and I wanted something flashy out of my outfit, so I went to Target. And
Of course.
Aisle 14 flashy stuff.
Because Russ buys his suits where he buys his
there you
wine
go.
from
Yeah,
Chevron.
Chevron right there.
And,
so you're in Target and you see the flash.
Yeah, I see a pair of $5 neon green sunglasses, and I buy them, and long story short, I wear them out to the club.
Okay, how old are you, first of all?
I'm 31.
Okay, so when I was 23 at San Diego State, and you were on another radio station. I was listening to you. I was just a college kid.
Attaboy.
And you were doing the Rock of the 80s thing.
Yeah.
Right? I was listening to Oingo Boingo and Flock of Seagulls. I bought myself a pair of neon green cheap sunglasses that were in my presence.
Right there.
Until literally like I lost them. And they were like super flashy neon green. Mm-hmm. I had the same experience, although I didn't become a billionaire. Talk about what happened from there.
Yeah, so I wore them out to the club, and people are literally trying to pry them off my face.
Wow.
I mean, it was insane. And so
you woke up from a deep hangover the next morning and said to yourself,
I felt awful.
Where's my pants?
I felt awful.
Oh, that was my story.
I left, and I was like, there was a lot of attention around my shades, like something's there, and I got obsessed with sunglasses. And so from there, I was a surf instructor at the time, so I'd be spending all my time at the beach. And so I would just literally see people walk by all day, and I just started noticing a huge gap between the $5 beater shades and then your $80, $100 Ray-Bans.
So we had a guy on the air, and I won't mention the name because I don't want to compete with this interview. We had a guy on our TV show some time back that had a similar idea, but what he did was he sold to Major League Baseball so he could have logo shades and stuff like that. I'm sure you know the company I'm talking about.
That's a different way
in
to
fact,
go.
Russ has a big sticker on his giant jacuzzi mug of coffee in the studio here that has it on there. But there is a gap, and there continues to be a gap between, you could buy yourself a pair of Wayfarers for $150. You could buy yourself a pair of whatever in the $80 range, but the cheap sunglass range that most of us would rather have cheap sunglasses because the ones we drop in the river.
Right.
Talk about this. So how did you go from there's a need here to I think I'll enter the sunglass market?
Yeah.
I mean, so literally I just started picking up the phone. I started Googling information. And I literally just went one day at a time, and one door opened up to another door.
Did you have the target in mind? Like, I want to produce blah, 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 blah. Now, how do I do that? Or did you just start?
I had no roadmap. I had no compass. I had no
business plan.
No business plan at all. I just had 100% confidence I can figure it out, and just figured it out from a shoestring. I borrowed $2,000 from my roommate that I used to, fund the first round of sunglasses.
Cool.
Is that what so you built the sunglasses with those?
Yeah, I mean, I funded the first round of sunglasses.
Where's that person now? Still in your loop?
No, he's a good friend of mine. He was my roommate at the time, so he believed in the idea.
Yeah.
Is he still an investor in the company?
No, I mean, I gave him a 25% return on the investment, and
he was happy with that.
He was stoked. He was stoked.
I bet when about 6 years from now, when you get acquired by Ray, he's going to wish he kept that. So let me ask you this: is the first step in creating a sunglass company creating the sunglasses itself?
No.
Because I didn't think it was either. Tell me what it is.
Really? For us, it was like we launched a Facebook page just to validate some of the demand, right? So we started putting out.
So before you had a product, you started selling the product. That's awesome.
Before we start, like usually companies launch when they have everything ready. Like we kind of went backwards, where we developed a Facebook page, put out designs, and started seeing demand. And we're like, okay, there's actually a need for this.
Now let's stop down there for a second, because just because you put out a Facebook page, there's a lot of people put Facebook pages out, but you can't make people look at it. What was the secret sauce there? How did you get people to take a look?
I just used my network through college. I used my network through surfing, and just had all my friends and their friends like this Facebook page, so I can start curating.
Say, hey guys, do me a favor and
build it up
and start doing that. Did you have any influencers, like any major big names like that?
Back then, they weren't really around. I mean, I knew a lot of athletes from my surfing. I was really passionate about surfing. I've been in the surf community a long time, so I knew some people through that industry. But no, I mean, we were just using local DJs that were playing through San Diego every.
Like DJs in clubs.
Yeah, DJs in clubs, DJs at all the pool parties, like at the Hard Rock downtown.
So they're wearing them and stuff and hand them out.
So I would go and I'd bring a backpack of shades and I'd just load them up with sunglasses and we get a bunch of cool photos.
So this was as grassroots as it comes.
Oh my God!
That's killer.
I was sweating on the decks, literally selling them one at a time.
Now, so, by the way, Chase Fisher is our guest today. Chase Fisher is the founder of Blenders Eyeware. And how many years ago was this? So when this started, when was that?
So this was 8 years ago.
8 years ago. So your overnight success in 8 years.
No, farthest from it,
So 8 years, and what has changed from what we see now on your website, blenderseyewear.com, and what we see here on the desk, and what happened then? Did you think you were going to be here? Because this is you're starting to get people looking at you for acquisition, and you're starting to think about there might be an exit here somewhere. So
yeah, I mean, it's exciting for sure. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like we take every day as if it's our first day still in business. You know what I mean? We know we got one shot at this, and to never take it for granted, and just to know to have the community of San Diego behind our back and the team that's been supporting us is a huge testament.
Same products that you had from the very beginning. Have they morphed into something else?
Totally. Or? I mean, we've expanded our product line from $30 to $68 sunglasses in multiple different frames. We now have snow goggles. So we've been really expanding. Strategically, I guess.
So if you get bought out, what are you going to do then? A lot of time off.
He's going to start another.
Go live on a beach in Bali. No,
there you go.
Never.
So you've got companies like Warby Parker that are sort of taking that sort of philosophy. We're not going to sell you $200 glasses, but we're going to sell you $100 glasses, right? You've taken it one step further from there. You've taken the Warby Parker and it's like, I'm going to make you some cool sunglasses. What's the price point on these things?
Price point is $38 to $68.
Wow,
right there.
So everyone can afford those, and they don't look, and obviously they look cool. They look like $300 sunglasses.
Yeah, you can have 3 to 4 pairs. You can match them with any sort of occasion that you want to do, and
right.
Yeah, people love them. They're awesome.
Hell, I'm Elton John now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there anything to the idea of holding back inventory to create demand? I've heard a couple of brands, Supreme being one of them, that would make 100 of something. Just to create a buzz about that. Have you tried that marketing angle before? Does that work?
We can't keep styles in stock. So we're always chasing demand, and we're creating demand as we go.
That's a good place to be. Unless you can't finance
right. It's a good problem to have, but it's a problem nonetheless. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, most companies, I will tell you this, from running a venture capital firm in the sports action lifestyle space, as I do, I can tell you most companies do great until they hit about $10 million in sales. When you hit $10 million in sales, you got a cash flow problem, believe it or not. And the reason is, and I should explain this to our listeners, is because suddenly you are chasing demand, and it comes down to, even though you have a lot of top line revenue coming in, you still have to pay for that to create product for the demand, right? Am I accurate there?
Yeah,
I mean, that's the tipping point where, and I've worked with guys like Beaver Theodosakis who started No Fear and sold his company Prana. Joe Cudliff from Viore, who's been on this program a number of times. Those guys all experienced the same thing in the arc of your story. On the business side of things, where are you at on this? Because obviously at the retail side, people are interested in some cool sunglasses. On the business side, how do you navigate through that? Because that's a big piece of it.
It's very difficult, especially when you bootstrap, right? Like we bootstrapped this thing from $2,000, so we really started one pair, one customer, one style at a time.
Have you done a capital round? Have you done an A round or a convertible round?
We've never raised any outside funding. This has been purely self-funded from the beginning.
Right.
And what I learned is, through manufacturing, it takes like 4 months to produce sunglasses. So think about cash flow.
You might miss the trend of the square.
Well, but there's also money involved where you got to be able to have a runway of 6 to 8 months, right?
Oh my God!
And things online can change like that.
Yeah.
You can miss an entire trend or an entire season if you don't forecast properly. So it's the never-ending sort of. You're chasing unicorns all the time, but...
I used to get Boys Life, and in the back they had these glasses where you could see through clothes.
No, they never did.
They don't have them?
No,
That's what I was going to buy. I never had enough money.
By the way, what is your most popular selling brand right now?
Gosh.
I should say style, not brand, style.
We have a style called the North Park, which is...
Is it about our North Park?
It's paying
Shut
homage.
up!
I love that.
Named after North Park.
Named after North Park. So
is there a big bridge right over the nose that says North Park?
No, we just thought it had a good ring to it. We came out with some cool colors and stuff, and
they are cool. I look so old in your glasses. That's how I know they're cool.
I don't think so.
Let me try some on then.
I think if you go to the website,
I will model.
If you go to the website, you'll see. Stay right there. I'm gonna talk to you some more. We're gonna keep you over here. Boy, wow, what a great story! And another captain of industry here in San Diego, Chase Fisher. Blenders Eyeware, blenderseyewear.com is a website.
What do you recommend for a fat face like mine?
Diet. Maybe a salad.
Diet Scotch.
Every once in a while.
That's my favorite.
All right, stand by. It's San Diego Business Weekend. I'm Sully. Russ T Nailz in studio with us.
Busy tonight with the nice guys, by the way.
And Chase Fisher. I'll let you promote just a moment.
Come on, dude.
Blenders Eyeware.
They're sponsoring me now.
Wow, wait a
Sorry,
second,
I can't hear you.
What do you think the teacher's going to look like this year? Whoa! Oh!
News Radio 600 Kogo, San Diego Business Weekend is on the air. I'm Sully. Great to have you along today. Russ T Nailz joining me in studio this week. Russ was big in the 80s.
Now I'm big.
And he's 80. Russ has been sober for 70 days. Just not in a row.
That's total for my life.
Yeah. Next week on the program, Christina Gustin will be joining us. Also, Patrick DeHaan of GasBuddy.com. And a captain of industry in the bicycle industry is going to be joining us here. Because remember, I just rode my bicycle with the mayor, Kevin Faulkner, and the chief of police retired, Shelley Zimmerman, from San Francisco to San Diego. Yeah, bicycle, not motorcycle. For the Challenged Athletes Foundation. In fact, that we should get Blenders involved in that.
There you go.
You can have
everyone needs shades on a bike. I'll tell you that.
I'll tell you.
Chase, this new line, the Encanto.
The Encanto. That's what it. Chase Fisher is the founder and CEO of Blenders Eyeware. Born and raised right here in San Diego. Okay. At least the brand was. Where were you raised?
Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara. And what brought you down to San Diego?
School.
The 5.
SDSU?
Yeah.
SDSU, UCSD, USD?
SDSU.
Okay.
SDSU. And so I used to come down to San Diego for surf contests in high school, and I just fell in love with it. So.
Yeah, sure. So it was interesting. So it was a great story in the UT about your company and about how it was founded and the fact of the matter is, and I'll reset this real quickly for folks that are just joining us. You basically were going to see one of your favorite DJs at Flux downtown and he needed to accessorize, and he decided that the best place to accessorize, of course, is Target. Nothing says accessories.
Absolutely. Pick up some
on a budget like Target.
I get the impression that maybe you were heading to Target, for some plain wrap beer, and you happened to see sunglasses on the counter.
Coors Party Ball.
I didn't know.
That's not as good of a story for the brand, because you have a really good brand story. But I'm going to argue maybe that's what you were doing instead. But anyway, so you walk out of there with a pair of neon sunglasses, and everybody and their sister loved the sunglasses, and you thought, okay, fine. Like we've had Steve Forbes on our national show a number of times. We've had every captain of industry in this country, and everyone says the same thing. The key to success in business is to find a need and fill it.
Right.
And you found a need that you didn't even know existed, and it was with a young crowd that didn't have as much expendable income as the guys that can spend $350 for sunglasses. Yeah. And you said, I'm going to make a mid-range quality sunglass. What is the reason this hasn't, in your opinion? Because I know you wake up in the morning and pinch yourself and you say to yourself, gosh, why wasn't this done before? Why wasn't it done before? Because it doesn't cost $300 to make a pair of sunglasses, yet they sell for that.
I wondered about that.
Yeah, I think just consumers just always thought sunglasses are the way they are, and they cost that much. And so, that was just embedded in culture. I think that people didn't know that there's actually better options that you could create,
Right.
and I didn't either until I actually explored it. So
Is that part of your job to unlearn? Some people say, "Look, these are nice. These are good. These are."
Re-educate the customer, right?
Oh, I mean, you have to, and like once you kind of get that cat out of the bag, it's powerful.
So I did a story this week how brick and mortar is still rules the world. If I were to ask you, Russ T Nailz, what and you probably know the answer to this because we've had the guy in the air a number of times, but what percentage of retail sales are done online versus bricks and mortar?
People like to touch it,
What do you think?
Well,
Most people would say what?
30%.
No, not even close.
30. How about 35?
11%. 11% of our purchases are only. I mean, everybody thinks half our stuff's online. Look at all you do is look down. Look what you're wearing. What have you purchased?
I forgot my pants.
Nothing that I have online. I purchased online. Are you a sticks and bricks guy, or are you on internet, or is it both?
Both.
It's both now. We're going from clicks to bricks now. So
Okay.
we just opened up our own store.
Your own store.
In Pacific Beach here in San Diego.
How many people come in looking for blenders?
Dude, we sell some shades out of there now. It's crazy.
You should have blenders. Just go, here's
So it's like a sunglass shop, and it's
it
got
up.
all of your stuff, and it's in Pacific Beach.
It's got all of our stuff. People get to come in, they get to try it on, they get to like meet the brand face to face. It's really cool.
Are you
know
going
what
to
I mean?
continue this bricks and mortar? Because what's interesting is just this week, article in Forbes magazine, article in Wall Street Journal talking about the fact that sticks and bricks and mortar retail is still rules. I mean, you think it's internet, and I will tell you, only 30% of us Americans even shop online, and of that number, National Retail Federation talks about 11%.
Oh, yeah.
Is how much we're spending online versus in stores. So
Now, some people see it online. They go, I want to go touch that or put it on my face because they're sunglasses.
that's called web rooming, if
Totally.
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I mean, they're saying 30% of retail in 2020 is going to be experiential, and that's like more D2C brands like us opening up smaller, intimate stores.
How do you decide where you're going to go? Obviously, San Diego's a natural for you, obviously,
Right.
because you're here. But what's like? How,
Well, we just follow the trail of our top customers online, right? Everything online is all data driven, so we have data of everything.
Okay.
So we're able to kind of see our top cities where we're growing the fastest, and then we can pop up stores in those locations.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So and let's get back to the social media aspect of this thing. Were it not for social media, do you think? And I say what I say by social media, I'm talking about the very prescriptive nature of audience identification and ad buys, because you can't just throw money at it on Facebook and Instagram. In fact, I would argue, just because of the music side of stuff that I understand about, that you could throw $30,000 as a new advertiser at something, but the guy who's a trusted advertiser that's doing $50 a day is still going to float higher on the news feed. So it's very prescriptive. Were it not for that, do you guys think you'd have the success that you have right now?
Definitely not. Social media and like the rise of digital marketing and e-com, like that time of 2012 to 2015 was critical. That was when some of the first brands kind of first took note of it and started figuring it out.
And the secret sauce to that is that do you guys post every day? Is everything that you do a paid ad? I mean, what's the mix on that?
No, I mean, it's consistency. It's just posting stuff that's authentic. It's posting stuff that is meaningful, that gets emotion and triggers,
And it's focused to your audience too. Let's not forget that. That's a big piece of this, right?
At the end of the day, you got to kind of fit within your category and your DNA. And so we've done a really good job because we really push the San Diego community, the San Diego culture. Like, that's what inspires our brand, and that's what we use.
It's interesting because what I learned along the way is that there's really three components to good social media advertising and digital marketing. You're a perfect person to ask about this. I think there's the creative side of things. You have to have good creative, and you have to have a good message that people are going to look at and respond to, whether it's a visual, a photograph, or whether it's a video. You have to have the creative.
I hire out as clickbait.
Number two, though, you have to have somebody quarterbacking this thing. You have to have a creative platform, and you have to have a social media platform, and somebody quarterbacking all of that for you, along with creative. But I think the third piece of this that most people don't realize is audience identification is really difficult, and you have to know how to split test ads once they're out there, and you have to know how to do the media buying. I think those three components, and I will tell you, buyer beware. As a person on air here for 24 years in this city, don't just hire a digital marketing firm because they say they are, because many people reinvent themselves as that when they were just advertising people. Don't you believe it's very prescriptive in nature?
For sure. I mean, absolutely. I think it's different than brick and mortar for sure, because you also have your customer walking into your store, right?
Yeah, but and you can advertise to those people differently. To advertise people online, it's a different game.
And your customer's always changing. Like, I mean, our customer service team is dealing with all different types of people in different parts of the U.S. in different age demographics. So whatever's working, that we just keep pouring gas on that.
I remember when those whole web thing that people just go, nah, I don't need a web.
Well,
thing.
that's what we said too. We were on radio for years. What the heck do we need a website for? And then we got a website.
Yeah.
And we thought, what do we need social media for?
I ran out and bought the flip cam.
But I will tell you, when we interviewed Keith Chambers, who ran all of the advertising for 3M and Hostess in the Super Bowl, what he said is new media is all media. And you have to be everywhere. Are you finding that to be the case for your success?
Yeah, I mean, we play really heavily on social media, We're looking at other channels too. We're looking at YouTube. We've done some billboards in San Diego. But nothing really has that return and like that strong attribution.
Plus you can measure it better almost than any other advertising.
It's insane. Like it's the most robust ad platform in the world.
Wow.
Where do you guys go next, by the way? Because obviously you are at an arc of your story where things are going really well. By the way, Chase Fisher is his name. BlendersEyeware.com is the website, and Blenders Eyeware you can actually purchase online. And then of course they've got a store in Pacific Beach. What's next for you though? Are you looking to just expand the business? Are you going to get acquired and go live on the beach in Bali like you talked about?
No,
you have any visions?
We're just getting started. We got a lot of new products we're working on, new categories we're coming out with. We're going to be expanding our retail locations. So we're going to continue to keep doing everything we're doing, staying true to the brand, and yeah.
Have you brought in a CEO yet from the industry, or have you brought in, because there's a lot of wisdom out there.
There's a lot.
So has anybody knocked on your door about that, or are you still keeping everything close to the vest?
Things are pretty close to the vest. We have a small knit team, and it's a pretty tight culture, but we're definitely expanding.
And you're learning a lot as you go along, don't you?
It's the gnarliest learning lesson you'll ever go through, or the self-discovery phase.
If you knew then what you know now, what would you have done differently?
What are you, Rod Stewart?
Well, it's true though.
I just know now that like when I was first starting, you're kind of arrogant, you're overly confident.
Yeah.
Like I thought I was going to sell 300 pairs on our first day, and I only sold 10.
Oops.
We thought we were going to be overnight success. Like
You are 8 years.
It's a long night.
Far from it. But yeah, we were chasing that dragon, and that dragon doesn't exist.
I just thought of a great storyboard for an ad. Okay, you got the cheap little sunglasses
Russ
here.
is an idea,
they go into
man.
a blender. Then you got the big expensive one. They go into a blender. Then you hit it, and
Where'd you come with the name Blenders?
it's right in the middle.
So I lived on Hornblende Street in
Hornblende.
PB.
Okay, who didn't?
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
There's nobody in this studio that didn't live on Hornblende Street one time in their life.
Every SDSU alum has.
So that's where it came from. Is Blenders.
Yeah, and then just the mixing and matching of colors that we do.
Yeah.
Right on. The name of the company, once again, Blenders Eyeware. Okay, real quickly for you, I do 7 questions before you get out of here today. First of all, what is your first memory of money?
First memory of money probably was when I was. Are we talking Blenders, or are we talking just?
No, you in life.
You woke up. There's a penny under my pillow. My
No,
tooth
my
is
first
gone.
memory. I started a sticker business in high school. I was selling stickers for.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
Killer.
First job.
First job, I was a busser.
A busser. What's the name of the restaurant?
At the Brown Pelican. I lasted 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Worst investment you ever made?
Worst investment.
Here we go.
How about worst decision about money?
The Vega.
Chevy Vega.
Vegas, throwing it on black. Yeah.
I'll skip to the last question. How much cash you got in your pocket right now?
I got $0 in my
That's
pocket.
right.
There we go.
He's a millennial. Why would he need any
why?
cash? Chase, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. Chase
Thanks,
Fisher,
guys.
Blenders Eyeware.
That's cool.
All right, Chris Janik, our director. Curtis Maddox, our assistant director. Me, producer Lady Mary, our producer. Russ T Nailz, russisfunny.com, because
Russ'sFatandBald.com was taken.
you can catch me every morning on San Diego Morning News here on News Radio 600 Kogo. Also on KUSI, Good Morning San Diego. And Russ and I are on Big Biz Show, bigbizshow.com.
See you at the Nice Guys event tonight.
Got the Nice Guys event tonight.
Phil Harper, Nice
Go
Guys
check
of the
it
Year.
out. There it is.
Ton.